with a video showing you how to disassemble a Kenmore 90 series dryer. You might want to disassemble it in order to clean it, which is the reason I'm disassembling mine, or to diagnose a problem with it. Here are the tools you'll need for this job. You'll need a screwdriver with a Phillips head, a screwdriver with a flat head, a flashlight, needle nose pliers, a vacuum cleaner, and I pictured here a hand vacuum cleaner, which I used, but I also used a full-size vacuum cleaner, and then a 1/4-inch socket bit. First thing you want to do is position your dryer so that you have plenty of room, or just clean up the area around your dryer. We're going to be removing the drum out of the dryer, so you're going to need room to place the different parts that we removed from the dryer. And please, please, please make sure you unplug your dryer before you begin working on it. A clogged ventilation system on a dryer will cause the dryer not to dry the clothes very well and be less efficient, causing your electricity bills and gas bills to be higher. So I like to clean the ventilation system on the dryer whenever I disassemble it. So just loosen the clamps around the hose and remove your hose, and I'll be cleaning this one later in the video. So starting on the dryer, first thing we need to do is remove the two end caps on the left and right side of the dryer. These will expose two screws that we'll be loosening next. So using your screwdriver and your Phillips head, remove the two screws we just exposed. With those two screws removed, you can just lift up the dryer's panel, which will expose three screws that we'll be removing next. So using your 1/4-inch socket, remove the three screws you see here. With those three screws removed, you should be able to just slide back, lift up, and remove the top panel of the dryer. Next, we're going to be removing the front panel, but before we can do that, we need to disconnect 4 wires that are at the front left portion of the dryer. I like to take a picture of wires that I disconnect just so I can refer back to them, but you can always refer back to this video to see how the wires should be connected. So just disconnect the wires, and in case you were unsure which wires, here's a picture of the wires disconnected. Next, we need to remove the lower panel, and to do this, you need a flathead screwdriver, and there are 2 spring tabs that you have to lower in order to remove that panel. And it's easier to see them if you look from a side angle. Here's a better video of what I'm actually doing with that flathead screwdriver. So lower that tab and you're able to pull out that lower panel. Next, there are 2 springs that are attached to the door of the dryer. So just remove them. Notice what they're connected to so that you can easily assemble it later. Next, there's a wire you need to disconnect. It's on the right side. Just get a set of needle nose pliers and pull it out, straight out towards you. Removing that lower panel exposed 2 screws that we need to unscrew with our 1/4-inch socket. Then there are 2 screws at the top of the front panel that we need to remove. With those 4 screws removed, you should be able to lift off the front panel. You have to lift slightly on the drum to disengage the drum from the rollers that are on the front panel. Next, we want to remove the drum, but before we can do that, we need to disconnect the belt from the pulley system that drives the drum. So here's a picture of it. Just remember how the belt is attached to the pulley system, because we're going to need to put it back on when we're reassembling the dryer. So just reach your left hand back and disconnect the belt from the pulley system shown here so that we can remove the drum. With the belt disconnected from the pulley, you should be able to just remove the drum, lift up the drum, and remove it from the dryer casing. So here's the reason I disassembled my dryer. I have lint that builds up inside my dryer, and if this happens over time, it can become a fire hazard. I have had a heating element get burned up because of a lint fire within my dryer. So every quarter or so I'll take apart my dryer and clean out the lint and to prevent this problem. So I cleaned up all that lint with the vacuum cleaner, got it all clean. Now I'm ready to reassemble my dryer. Before I do that, I wanted to show you how the belt is assembled around the pulley system. You can't do it until you put the drum in, but I wanted to show you how it's configured before we put the drum in. So next you just want to lift the drum with the belt on back onto the dryer, and just make sure the back lip of the drum is on the rollers on the back panel. Next you want to reassemble the belt onto the pulleys in this configuration. I do this by putting my left arm on the left side of the drum and my right arm on the right side of the drum, and I can feel the belt and position it on the pulleys in this manner. Next we're going to reattach the front panel. To do this, there's a little metal guide to place the bottom of the front panel in. Then you need to slightly lift up on the drum to get it up over the rollers, and then you can reattach the front panel and position the screw holes. Next, just screw in the 1/4" screws on both sides, and then reattach the wire that we disconnected earlier. Then replace the door springs on both sides, and you can kind of feel before you attach, you can feel the little bracket that comes down from the door that you attach the top of the spring to. Next, to replace the bottom panel, there are 2 metal guides to insert in the holes at the bottom of the panel. Then just lift up and push and it will lock in place. Next you want to reattach the 4 wires that we disconnected earlier in this configuration. Now you can replace the top panel of the dryer. Just put it on and slide it back under the 3 screw heads that we'll replace now. Now just screw in the 3 1/4" screws. Now you can lower the control panel back into its position and line it up with the 2 screw holes on each side. Now just replace the 2 Phillips screws that we took out at the very beginning. Finally, replace the 2 end caps, and your dryer should be completely back together at this point. I like to clean up as much of the lint as possible, so I'll vacuum out the duct going to the outside as well as the duct going into the dryer. I also vacuum up the hose itself to try to get as much lint out of that as possible. Next, I reattach the hose to the wall vent by placing it over the wall vent and then tightening the clamp that goes over the hose. Then just repeat the process to attach the hose to the dryer itself. And the very last thing you should do is plug in your dryer and make sure that it's in working order. Make sure the drum turns okay and that everything seems to be drying like it should. That concludes this video. I hope it was helpful. For other videos like this, refer to my website.